So I was at work the other day and a friend of mine asked me if I could recommend any books to her. She had finished The Radium Girls and Slewfoot and a couple of other books that I recommended, and now she was looking for what her next read would be. And I told her, oh, give me a minute and I'll come up with something for you. And I promise you, friends, it was just about a minute when I said I got two for you. And before she even told me what she liked autobiographies, she likes nonfiction, she likes true crime, everything same as me. I took pictures and texted them to her to make sure that there was no doubt of the books that I was talking about. Those two books that I recommended to her were The Quiet Dawn and I Heard You Paint Houses. Anybody who is a fan of true crime and has not read these two books yet, you might want to think about adding these to your TBR. They are phenomenal books. They are the kind of books that you don't want to end. After you have read all the information they could possibly give you within the text of the book, you find yourself online doing a further search on the subject. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what each book is about. I recommend reading The Quiet Dawn first because that will give you a better understanding of what happened to Jimmy Hoffa in the book I Heard You Paint Houses. So I had The Quiet Dawn. I lent it out and I never got it back. So that's why I have to use this card. I do have I Heard You Paint Houses still on my shelf. And I'm glad of it. It is a fantastic book. How the story goes is throughout this book, The Quiet Dawn, we learn about Russell Buffalino. And he was born in 1903 and he passed of natural causes in 1994 in Nesbitt Hospital, which was located in Kingston, Pennsylvania. He was the Northeastern Pennsylvania's top crime boss. He ruled for 30 years from 1959 to 1989. And the story is so, like, I want to say convoluted, in the sense that he was, again, a typical nice guy. He was a charmer, and the little kiddies would go up to his house, knock on the door for tricks or treats. He would give them candy. Very, very likable guy, but he would not think twice about taking you out. And by taking you out, I mean lights out. So there is a lot involved in the life story of Mr. Buffalino. He was tied into a lot of things, dumps, let me think, I can't think where your car, junkyards. I couldn't think. Junkyards, heavy equipment, machinery, types of businesses. He was very specific in the food that he ate and where he liked to dine. So there is a lot of history throughout northeastern Pennsylvania where he liked to frequent. He was also the cousin of William Buffalino, who was the attorney for Jimmy Hoffa. And that's how the two stories are connected. Sooner or later, their paths would cross. Now, Jimmy Hoffa stood up for the underdog, the guy who, let's just say you were working on the docks of a produce company and there was no deliveries that day. Well, if there's no work, there's no pay. even though you have to stay, you have to be there, because what if a delivery should happen to come through? Somebody needs to be there on the docks to unload these trucks. So what the guys would do would be sit around and play cards, but they weren't getting paid for it. And it's hard to bring a family up with no dough. So Jimmy formed the Teamsters Union, and he actually brought the mobsters into the union. Throughout the book, it tells you of his dealings with the mob. Now, I Heard You Paint Houses is mob terminology for I heard you will kill a man for me. So, I don't have the Buffalino book to read you anything from, but that's where you have to start. That's where this story starts. So you cannot read this without starting there. If you are into true crime, believe me, you will have no problem starting there. So we have Frank Sheeran. Frank Sheeran was Jimmy Hoffa's right-hand man, honest, loyal, and true. And it is said that Frank Sheeran is actually the guy who took Jimmy Hoffa out. This book is so well written. Without giving any spoilers, most people know how Jimmy Hoffa presumably died. The way that this book is written, you are in that car with Jimmy in the parking lot of the restaurant, waiting for your connection to come and meet you, having no clue that your connection is actually coming to take you out. Although he professed his loyalty to Hoffa, he said on one occasion, "I'll be a Hoffa man till they pat my face with a shovel and steal my cufflinks." Sheeran acknowledged that he was the one who killed the Teamsters boss. On July 30th, 1975, Hoffa disappeared. Sheeran explains how he did it in a prose reminiscent of the best gangster films. Ooh. Brandt's book gives new meaning to the term guilty pleasure. Yes, it does. Told with such economy and chilling force as to make The Sopranos suddenly seem overwrought and theatrical. A page-turning account of one man's descent into the mob. Is Sheeran believable? Very. And I Heard You Paint Houses is a very enjoyable book. Well, for what it's worth, it actually is. They ain't lying. So if you do not know what you want to read next, I would most definitely recommend these two here books. That ought to keep you busy for a while. It's such a phenomenal read. You'll probably, those who are into that will finish in just under a week with both of them. I hope you find them just as entertaining, fascinating, and interesting as I did. Until our next visit, friends, I love you. Drink your water and keep reading those books.